All right, welcome tonight, everybody. We are the group Datachill, and we have been tasked by the Climate Action Network of Europe to analyze the environmental impact of data centers. For some of you who are unfamiliar with data centers, let's have a look what a data center actually is. It's essentially just a very, very, very big room with very many computers. These computers store all kinds of stuff like video, data, images, whatever. And anything that flows through the global internet traffic usually gets linked through these data centers. So to give you some more context of why data is so important in our ever-increasing global economy, let's have a look at how much data is out there. There's around 185 trillion gigabytes of data out there, which is about the equivalent of 1 billion entire downloads of the entire world's Netflix library. So it's insanely big. ChatGPT, which I'm sure all of you probably use on a daily basis, uses up to 40 million kilowatt hours every single day. That's enough to light up the Eiffel Tower for 5 consecutive years. And lastly, Google now, whenever you search anything on Google, uses its new Google AI feature where it will dynamically give you a result. This, compared to previous Google just a couple years ago, which we might have forgotten about, uses up to 10 to 30 times more data. So all of this has led us to the question, which countries are most suited for a sustainable growth for data centers in Europe specifically? So,
Okay. Well, I have to say it looks quite different from here and seeing a lot of people like down there. It's a bit scary for me. But let's go back. So like we divided Europe into 3 regions. So the north, where like the climate is cooler, and so like the data centers they need like less water for cool down. And the central Europe is like internet hub, and also with like a big traffic and also population density. And the South Europe, where the climate is hot and dry, so data centers normally like need more water to cool down. And we also selected like nine countries because like the most of the data centers in Europe are located in this area. And the big data cities like Frankfurt, like Amsterdam, Paris, Stockholm, Dublin are also located in this area. And what's more, the giant tech companies like Google, Amazon, like Microsoft, they also built their data centers in also this area. So we believe like with this selection, we can represent the situation of Europe.
So now in order to judge the sustainability of data centers well, we should have a look at the water that it uses and the energy that it uses. So let's start with having a look at the water shortage in Europe specifically. So the first metric that we will have a look at is the total amount of renewable water resources that are available for each country. So here in this map, you can see that the southern regions do indeed have quite a lot of water, but notably also countries in the north of Europe, like Sweden and Finland, also notably have quite a lot of water. The key exception here, and a surprise to us, was actually Denmark, which barely has any water and therefore diverted its industry to not use so much water. And then the second metric that's also interesting in connection with the amount of water that's available is the interannual variability. So this is how much water may vary from year to year. Spain, as we all know, might suffer from severe droughts one year or more abundant water the next. This is obviously a huge problem when you operate data centers that need to operate 24/7. Notably also here is that Central Europe is very stable in this example, and the northern regions also have some variability. But variability is not all. Here we took the key metric that's called the WAY+. It's used by the European Commission. And it is used to actually analyze how much of a country's resources are actually consumed. So this is a key and core metric if we want to look at the sustainability of it. So the key threshold here is around the 20 mark. And you can see actually here, Italy is doing quite tough on the water situation. In Europe, it's consuming the most in relation to how much water it has, and therefore it exploits it the most. And yeah, you can see that here, while other countries like Sweden and Finland sit more comfortably, very, very low at the bottom with a clear abundance of water resources. So now that we had a look at the water, let's now have a look at the energy and the pollution that's caused by the creation of its energy. So if we have a look at the energy mix in Europe and within the 9 countries specifically that we chose, the southern regions do have a very high demand for energy, and they are also high polluters as a consequence of such. Central Europe, comparatively, is even worse with the use of even more fossil fuels. And the Nordic countries generally have much lower energy demands. And countries like Sweden are key pioneers here in terms of renewable energy sources. So now that we had a look at the energy, the pollution that's caused as a consequence of the energy is decreasing specifically for Germany over the last decades. It managed to be more sustainable in its industry, while other countries like Italy and Finland are very stable in terms of energy, but are not really reducing it that much. So now we will have a look at the data center specifically.
So like to like evaluate data centers, like we have like 2 like metrics to do this. The first one is called like power usage effectiveness. So like, of course, this is to measure like the energy efficiency of like one data center. Basically, this is to say like how much power is actually used for like data related like process instead of like other like extra but also necessary process like cooling or lighting. So of course, the ideal number would be like 1, which means like for one data center, like all the energy consumed is actually for data related process. But of course, in real life, that is not not possible. So like in short, we say, like the closer this number is to 1, the more efficiently this data center is actually functioning. And as shown from the graph, like we can see that the north part of Europe is doing so much better than that of south, especially Sweden and Finland. And the second metric that we need to take a look is water usage effectiveness. So like very similarly, it's also like used to to measure like how efficiently a data center is actually consuming water. So, to understand like this metric, like I would love to offer one like very easy like example. So imagine like data center A is like the modern like water saving like washing machine that use up to like 50 liters of water per wash, and data center B is like a traditional one that consumes at least like 80 like liters each wash. So they pretty much do the same job, that they wash the same amount of the clothes. However, the like water usage effectiveness of the data center A will be so much lower than that of B. So in short, the lower this number is, the more efficiently this data center is actually functioning. So from the graph, we can still see the pretty much similar trend. So the north part of Europe is doing more efficiency than that of south. But in here, we can also see 2 very exceptional cases, which is France and Denmark. But this is highly related to their nature, total nature resource. So basically, France has more water, while Denmark has really little. And this has brought us to our final insight. So we can see that we can see that like in the north part of Europe, like they have like first like by now like the fewest data center, and also like the lowest and like like water stress, and also like the best energy efficiency. And the Central Europe has so far like most concentrated data center and the biggest like CO2 emission. And now we also see that they have like concerning or like water stress. And however, in the south part of the Europe, like we can see like they had the second biggest amount in terms of the data centers, but they had it has like the largest like the energy like usage, and also like the water and electricity demand. And with its like hot and dry weather, like they are facing like severe like water stress. So like to sum up, Finland like would be the most suited country in terms of the future data center development. So like you might be wondering, like why like Sweden is pretty much share the very similar situation, but why Sweden is not like one of the most suited country? Because we only have like 7% of the information about data centers from Sweden, which is like far from being sufficient. And this also like brought us to the like the message that we want to deliver, that like we demand like the more like transparency in terms of the data center, especially that of the like giant techs. And also the second message we want to say is that like we also demand the like environment justice. So the digital future of Europe should not come like at cost of a certain areas like nature resource and environment. So this is our presentation. Thank you so much.
Dankeschön.